Kim Tae-ho wiped the grease from his hands as he looked at the massive ship floating in the repair bay. The alien vessel was unlike anything he had seen before. Its surface looked like it was grown rather than built, with smooth curves and strange patterns that seemed to pulse with faint light. "Another junk pile for the human to fix," muttered his supervisor, a tall blue alien with 4 arms. "The Draconians abandoned this ship decades ago. See if you can salvage anything useful." Tae-ho nodded and grabbed his toolkit. He had been working at Kepler 442 mining station for 3 years now. The aliens here treated humans like useful pets, good at fixing things but not smart enough for real work. Tae-ho did not mind much. He loved solving puzzles, and broken machines were the best puzzles of all. The ship's entry hatch was sealed tight. Tae-ho ran his hands over the bio-organic surface, feeling for weak spots. The metal felt warm under his touch, almost alive. After an hour of careful work, he found a maintenance panel hidden beneath what looked like scales. Inside the ship, everything was dark. Tae-ho's flashlight revealed corridors that twisted and curved like the inside of a giant creature. The walls had a texture that reminded him of dragon skin from old Earth stories. Strange symbols glowed faintly along the ceiling, probably some kind of emergency lighting system. He moved deeper into the ship, following what seemed to be the main corridor. The air was stale but breathable. His scanner showed that life support was still working, powered by some kind of biological battery system that he did not understand. The ship was clearly built for creatures much larger than humans. The doorways were 3 meters tall, and the corridors were wide enough for Tae-ho to spread his arms without touching the walls. Everything had an organic feel, as if the ship had been grown like a plant rather than assembled from parts. After 2 hours of exploration, Tae-ho found what looked like the ship's heart. The chamber was enormous, with curved walls that pulsed with soft blue light. In the center was a platform surrounded by strange tubes and cables that looked more like vines than wires. On the platform lay a figure that made Tae-ho's breath catch in his throat. She was huge, at least 4 meters long, from nose to tail, with scales that shifted color from deep blue to silver in the changing light. Her body was clearly reptilian, but she had features that seemed almost human, a face that was beautiful despite being completely alien, with closed eyes that looked peaceful rather than dead. This was a Draconian. Tae-ho had never seen one in person before. They were one of the most powerful races in the galaxy, with technology that was part machine and part living creature. Most aliens were afraid of them, and humans were definitely not supposed to find Draconians on abandoned ships. Tae-ho approached carefully. His scanner showed that she was alive, just sleeping very deeply. The tubes connected to her body were probably some kind of hibernation system, keeping her alive while she slept. He spent another hour studying the hibernation chamber, trying to understand how it worked. The technology was amazing. It used the ship's biological systems to keep her body functioning with almost no energy. But something was wrong. The power levels were dropping, and the system was starting to fail. If he did nothing, she would die. Within a few days, Tae-ho knew he should call his supervisor and report the find. The station's government would probably hand her over to the Draconian authorities, but something made him hesitate. The ship had been abandoned for decades. If the Draconians had wanted her back, they would have come looking for her by now. He made a decision that would change everything. Working carefully, Tae-ho began to repair the hibernation system. He used parts from his toolkit and some spare components from the ship's other systems. The bioorganic technology was strange, but it followed patterns that he could understand if he thought about it like fixing a very complicated living creature. After 6 hours of delicate work, the system stabilized. The Draconian's breathing became stronger, and her scales began to glow with healthy color. But Tae-ho knew that waking her up was risky. Draconians were supposed to be dangerous, especially when confused or scared. He set up a translation device and started the wake-up sequence. The Draconian's eyes opened slowly. They were the most beautiful eyes Taiho had ever seen, deep purple with flecks of silver that seemed to hold starlight. She looked around in confusion, then focused on Taiho. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then she spoke, her voice like music despite the alien words. "Who are you?" The translation device converted her speech into English. "Why did you wake me?" "My name is Kim Taeho," he said carefully. "I am a mechanic. Your ship was brought to our station for salvage. Your hibernation system was failing, so I fixed it." She sat up slowly, looking around the chamber. "How long have I been asleep?" "The ship has been drifting for at least 40 years, Taiho said. "Maybe longer." Her face showed pain that had nothing to do with physical injury. 40 years. They really did abandon me then. "Who abandoned you?" "My clan, the Stormwing clan." Her voice was bitter. "I am Yura, or I was Yura of the Stormwing. Now I am nothing." "Why would they abandon you?" Yura looked at her hands, flexing clawed fingers that sparked with weak electricity. "I am defective, broken. Dragons are supposed to breathe fire and command lightning. I can do neither. In my clan's eyes, I am worthless." Taiho felt anger building in his chest. "That's stupid. You are not worthless." "You do not understand," Yura said sadly. "In Draconian society, power is everything. Without fire or lightning, I cannot serve the clan. I cannot fight or work or contribute anything useful. They put me in hibernation and sent my ship away, hoping I would die quietly and stop embarrassing them." "Well, you are not with your clan now," Taiho said firmly. "You are alive, and that means you have value." Yura stared at him in amazement. "You are very strange for a human. Most aliens would have turned me over to the authorities by now." "Maybe I am strange," Taiho admitted. "But I do not think anyone should be thrown away just because they are different." Before Yura could respond, Taiho's communicator buzzed. His supervisor's voice crackled through the speaker. "Taiho, what is taking so long? The station administrator wants that ship cleared out by tomorrow. We have a Draconian enforcement ship incoming, and they want to inspect any Draconian vessels we have found." Taiho looked at Yura, seeing fear in her beautiful eyes. If the enforcers found her, they would either return her to the clan that had abandoned her or kill her as a disgrace to their species. "Do not worry," he said quietly. "I will think of something." But as he looked at the massive dragon curled on the platform, Taiho wondered what one human mechanic could possibly do against the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Taiho worked through the night, moving Yura from her ship to an abandoned storage bay deep in the station's lower levels. The dragon was weak from her long sleep, but she could walk if she moved slowly. Getting her past the security cameras had been tricky, but Taiho knew every maintenance tunnel and forgotten corridor in the station. "This place is very small for me," Yura said as she curled up in the storage bay. Even folded up, she took up most of the space. "I know it is not comfortable," Taiho said, setting up a heater and some basic life support equipment. "But it is hidden. The sensors here have been broken for months." His friend Park Minho arrived an hour later with food and supplies. Minho was another human mechanic, shorter than Taiho, but twice as strong. He stared at Yura with wide eyes. "You were not joking," Minho whispered. "There really is a dragon in here." "Her name is Yura," Taiho said, "and she needs our help." "Taiho, this is crazy," Minho said, though he kept his voice low. "If they catch us hiding a Draconian, we will be in serious trouble. They might even send us back to Earth." "Her own clan left her to die," Taiho said angrily, "just because she is different. Would you want me to hand you over to people who wanted you dead?" Minho looked at Yura, who was pretending not to listen to their conversation. "What is wrong with her? She looks fine to me." "I cannot breathe fire," Yura said quietly, "or generate proper lightning. In draconian culture, this makes me useless." "That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard," Minho said. "You are obviously intelligent and strong. Who cares about breathing fire?" Yura looked surprised. "You really think that? Most aliens fear dragons because of our fire and lightning." "Most aliens are idiots," Minho said simply. "Present company, excluded, of course." Despite her sadness, Yura smiled a little. It was the first time Taiho had seen her look happy. Their conversation was interrupted by an announcement over the station's communication system. "Attention, all personnel. Draconian. Enforcer Ship Chorus is requesting permission to dock. All department heads report to the command center immediately." Taiho felt his stomach drop. "They are here already." Over the next few hours, news spread through the station. The Draconian Enforcer, a massive warrior called Chorus the Burner, was searching for something. He had brought a full squad of dragon soldiers and was demanding to inspect every ship that had been salvaged in the past year. "They know she is here," Minho said when he returned from the upper levels. "Chorus is showing everyone a picture of her. He says she is stolen clan property that must be returned." "I am not property," Yura said angrily, her scales shifting to deep red. "I am a person." "Not according to draconian law," a new voice said from the doorway. Taiho spun around to see Lee Nari, a human xenobiologist who worked in the station's science department. She was holding a data pad and looking very serious. "How did you find us?" Taiho asked. "I have been tracking unusual bio readings in this section," Nari said. "When I heard about the draconian search, I put the pieces together." She looked at Yura with scientific interest. "You are the missing dragon they are looking for. Are you going to turn us in?" Minho asked, moving protectively in front of Yura. "That depends," Nari said. "Can I scan her? I am seeing some very interesting readings on my instruments." Yura looked at Taiho, who nodded. "She is trying to help," he said. Nari ran her scanner over Yura's body, frowning at the results. "This is fascinating. Your bioelectric systems are not damaged or missing. They are just dormant." "What does that mean?" Yura asked. "It means you are not defective," Nari said excitedly. "You are evolved. Your body has moved beyond the need for primitive fire breathing. Your electrical generation is more sophisticated than normal dragons, not less." "But I cannot use it," Yura said sadly. "Because you have never been taught how," Nari said. "Your clan probably only knows the old ways. They would not understand new abilities." Taiho felt excitement building. "Can you help her access her abilities?" "Maybe," Nari said, "but it would require some very experimental equipment, and we would need time." "We do not have time," Minho said. "That enforcer is searching every part of the station." As if summoned by his words, heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. A deep voice shouted commands in the draconian language. "They are getting closer," Yura whispered, curling up smaller. "Maybe you should just hand me over. I do not want you to get hurt because of me." "No," Taiho said firmly. "We protect our friends. That is what humans do." "Friends?" Yura looked confused. "But you barely know me." "Does not matter," Minho said. "You are in trouble, and you are not bad people. That makes you our friend." Nari nodded. "Besides, I want to study your abilities. You could be the key to understanding draconian evolution." The footsteps were getting closer. Taiho made a quick decision. "Nari, can you build something to help Yura access her powers?" "I would need parts," Nari said, "and at least 12 hours of uninterrupted work." "Then we need to buy time," Taiho said. He opened his toolkit and started pulling out components. "Minho, help me set up a signal jammer. If we can block their bioscanners, they cannot track her life signs." "What about the heat signature?" Minho asked. I have an idea about that too, Taiho said, connecting wires with quick, practiced movements. They worked frantically for the next hour. Taiho built a device that would mask Yura's unique biological signature, while Nari gathered equipment to build something she called a bioelectric amplifier. Minho stood guard and reported on the search team's progress. They are 2 levels up, Minho reported. But they are being very thorough. They will reach us by tomorrow morning at the latest. That should be enough time, Nari said, looking at her equipment. If my theory is right, Yura's dormant abilities are like a muscle that has never been exercised. We need to stimulate the right neural pathways. Is it safe? Yura asked nervously. Honestly? I have no idea, Nari said. This is completely experimental. You could be hurt, or nothing could happen, or you might become more powerful than any dragon in history. Those are not very good odds, Minho said. They are better odds than facing Chorus with no abilities at all, Yura pointed out. Taiho finished his jamming device and activated it. Immediately, the room filled with a low humming sound. That should hide your biosignature, he said. But it will not work forever. The Draconians will eventually figure out what we are doing. Then we better work fast, Nari said, attaching electrodes to Yura's scales. Taiho, I need you to help me calibrate this. Your mechanical intuition might help us find the right frequency. As they worked together, Taiho noticed something interesting. The bioelectric amplifier was not just a machine. It was responding to all 3 of them, human and dragon alike. Their combined efforts were making it work better than any of them could manage alone. I think I understand now, he said quietly. Yura's abilities are not meant to work alone. They are meant to work with others. Like a pack, Minho said, understanding immediately. Dragons do not have packs, Yura said. We have clans, with strict hierarchies. Well, maybe that is their problem, Nari said, making final adjustments to her device. Are you ready to try this? Yura took a deep breath. Yes. Let us see what I really am. Nari activated the amplifier, and the room filled with crackling energy. Yura's scales began to glow brighter than any of them had ever seen, and for the first time in her life, she felt her true power beginning to wake up. The bioelectric amplifier hummed to life, and Yura's scales began to glow with soft blue light. The energy felt different from what she had expected, not violent or destructive like traditional dragon fire, but warm and connecting. How do you feel? Nari asked, watching her scanner readings carefully. Strange, Yura said. Like I am connected to all of you. I can sense your emotions, your thoughts almost. Taiho felt a tingling sensation in his mind, as if someone was gently touching his memories. Is that you doing that? I think so, Yura said, sounding amazed. But I am not trying to invade your thoughts. It feels more like sharing. Fascinating, Nari said, recording everything. Your abilities seem to be empathic rather than destructive. You are not meant to dominate others. You are meant to connect with them. Minho suddenly stiffened. Someone is coming. Heavy footsteps, moving fast. The storage bay door burst open, and Jiang Wujin, the station's human security chief, rushed inside. He was a big man with graying hair and scars from his military service days. I know you are in here, he said, looking directly at Yura. The whole station is talking about the hidden dragon. Taiho stepped protectively in front of Yura. We are not causing any trouble. I know that, Wu Jin said. That is why I am here to help, not arrest you. He looked at Yura with sympathetic eyes. I heard what your clan did to you. Any family that abandons their own is not worth protecting. You want to help us? Yura asked, surprised. I have been watching humans and aliens work together for 20 years, Wu Jin said. I have learned that family is about choice, not blood. These people chose you, and you chose them. That makes you part of our pack. Pack? Yura repeated the word thoughtfully. Human social groups, Nari explained. We form bonds based on loyalty and affection, not hierarchy or power. That is very different from dragon clans, Yura said. Maybe that is why your abilities work better with humans than with other dragons, Tejo suggested. Their conversation was interrupted by an alarm. The station's communication system crackled to life with an announcement that made everyone freeze. Attention, Kepler 442 station. This is clan leader Thorax, the Flameheart of the Stormwing clan. We are arriving with a full battle fleet to reclaim. Stolen clan property. Any interference with clan justice will be met with force. A full battle fleet, Minho said weakly. For one dragon? They are not just coming for me, Yura said, her scales turning dark with fear. If my abilities are truly different, they will see me as a threat to their traditional ways. They cannot allow me to live. Wu Jin activated his communicator. All? Security teams, this is Chief Wu Jin. We have a Code 7 situation developing. Prepare for possible hostile contact. What is Code 7? Taiho asked. Defense of station personnel against external threats, Wu Jin said grimly. I am classifying Yura as station personnel under human protection. You would fight dragons to protect me? Yura asked, her voice full of wonder. We protect our people, Wu Jin said simply. That is what humans do. Over the next few hours, word spread through the human sections of the station. To Teiho's amazement, most of the humans supported protecting Yura. They brought food, blankets, and even weapons. Some of the friendlier aliens offered help too. I do not understand, Yura said as she watched humans preparing defenses. Why are they risking so much for someone they barely know? Because that is how pack bonds work, Nari explained. When humans accept someone into their group, they will fight to protect them, even against impossible odds. This is very different from dragon clans, Yura said. In my culture, individuals must prove their worth before receiving protection, and that protection can be withdrawn if they become inconvenient. Sounds like a terrible way to live, Minho said, checking his jury-rigged weapons. As the Stormwing fleet approached, Nari made an incredible discovery. While researching dragon biology, she found ancient texts in the station's database that mentioned creatures called silent wings. Look at this, she said, showing them her translation. The silent wings were dragons who evolved beyond fire and lightning. They were said to be able to unite different species in perfect cooperation. What happened to them? Yura asked. According to this, they were hunted to extinction by traditional dragon clans who saw them as a threat to the natural order, Nari said sadly. So I am not the first, Yura realized. There were others like me. And your clan has been killing them for centuries, Taiho said angrily. Yura's scales shifted through colors as emotions warred inside her. They are coming to finish what they started long ago. Not if we stop them first, Wu Jin said, entering with a group of armed humans. The station administrator is trying to negotiate, but Thorax is not interested in talking. They want you dead, or returned to the clan, and they do not care which. I will not go back, Yura said firmly. I would rather die free than live as their prisoner. You are not going to die, Taiho said. We are going to find a way to fight them. How? Minho asked. They have warships, we have mining equipment and small arms. We have something they do not, Nari said thoughtfully. We have Yura's abilities, and we are just beginning to understand what she can do. She activated the bioelectric amplifier again, but this time she connected it to the station's power grid. Yura, try focusing your abilities through the station's systems. See if you can enhance our equipment. Yura concentrated, and suddenly every human device in the room began working better. Weapons charged faster, scanners showed clearer readings, and even the lights burned brighter. Incredible, Nari breathed. You are not just empathic. You can enhance the performance of technology and the people using it. This changes everything, Wu Jin said, looking at his weapon's improved power readings. If you can enhance our entire defense grid, I can try, Yura said, but I have never done anything this large before. We will help you, Taiho said, taking her clawed hand in his human one. That is what families do. As the Stormwing fleet entered the system, Yura closed her eyes and reached out with her enhanced abilities. She felt the station around her like a living thing, and she began to understand how her powers could make it stronger. But she also felt something else. The cold, violent minds of the approaching dragons, burning with hatred for anything that challenged their ancient ways. They are not just coming to capture me, she said, opening her eyes. They are coming to destroy everything I have touched. They see human pack bonds as a disease that must be eliminated. Then we better be ready for them, Wu Jin said, checking his weapons one final time. Through the station's viewports, they could see the dragon ships approaching, sleek, organic vessels that looked like flying predators. At their head was Thorax's flagship, burning with the traditional fires of the Stormwing clan. Here they come, Minho said quietly. Yura spread her enhanced senses through the station's systems, feeling hundreds of humans and friendly aliens preparing to fight impossible odds to protect her. For the first time in her long life, she truly understood what it meant to belong somewhere. Let them come, she said, her scales glowing with determination. They want to see what evolution looks like. I will show them. The Stormwing fleet surrounded Kepler 442 station like hungry predators circling wounded prey. Thorax the Flameheart's voice boomed across all communication channels, demanding immediate surrender. Humans of this pathetic station, the clan leader's voice was full of contempt. You harbor stolen property of the Stormwing clan. Return the defective female to us immediately or face the consequences of your foolishness. In the station's command center, Administrator Chen, a nervous Centaurian, was sweating heavily. We must comply, he said to Wu Jin. The station cannot survive a dragon assault. No, Wu Jin said firmly. Yura is under human protection. We do not abandon our people. She is not people, Chen snapped. She is a dragon, and a defective one. At that, why risk thousands of lives for one broken alien? Because that is what makes us human, Wu Jin replied, turning away from the administrator. In the hidden storage bay, Yura watched the approaching ships through security cameras. Her enhanced senses could feel the burning hatred radiating from the dragon vessels. There are so many of them, she said sadly. Thorax brought the entire clan fleet. They really do want me dead. We are not giving up, Taiho said, working frantically on the bioelectric amplifier. Nari, how much power can the station's grid handle? If Yura channels through the main power core, she could enhance every system on the station, Nari said. But the feedback might kill her. I am willing to take that risk, Yura said. We are not, Minho said firmly. There has to be another way. Their planning was interrupted as the first dragon attack began. Fire and lightning struck the station's outer hull, causing the entire structure to shake. Emergency alarms wailed as sections began losing atmosphere. They are targeting the civilian areas, Wu Jin reported over his communicator. They want to force a quick surrender. Monsters, Taiho said angrily. They are willing to kill innocents just to get to Yura. This is traditional dragon warfare, Yura explained, her scales turning dark with shame. Attack the weak to force the strong to submit. I am sorry my people are like this. They are not your people anymore, Nari said gently. We are your people now. Another wave of attacks hit the station. This time, dragon warriors in biomechanical armor began landing on the outer hull, cutting their way inside with burning claws. They are boarding us, Wu Jin said. All security teams, prepare to repel boarders. I cannot just hide here while people die protecting me, Yura said, standing up to her full height. The amplifier is not ready. Taiho warned. If you try to enhance the whole station now, it could overload. Then I will start smaller, Yura said. She placed her claws on the storage bay's power conduit and concentrated. Immediately, the lights in their section became brighter and steadier. The air recycling system began working more efficiently, and even their handheld devices showed improved performance. It is working, Nari said, amazed. You are enhancing everything connected to the power grid. I can feel them, Yura said, her eyes closed in concentration. The humans fighting to protect this station. I can sense their fear, their determination, their loyalty to each other. It is beautiful. Through the station's corridors, human security, teams found their weapons charging faster and hitting harder. Their armor system showed improved protection, and their communication equipment worked with crystal clarity. They began to hold their ground against the Dragon Warriors. But the Stormwing clan was not impressed by improved human equipment. Thorax himself led the next wave of attacks, his massive form breathing fire that could melt through station bulkheads. Where is the defective one? He roared as he burned through a security checkpoint. Where is the abomination that dares to corrupt pure dragon blood? Wu Jin and a team of enhanced humans met Thorax in the main corridor. Their weapons, boosted by Yura's abilities, actually managed to hurt the clan leader. But he was ancient and powerful, with centuries of combat experience. Impossible, Thorax snarled as human weapons left burns on his armored scales. How do these weak creatures dare to fight dragons? Because we protect our friends, Wu Jin said, firing another, enhanced energy bolt. Something you would not understand. The battle raged through the station's corridors. Enhanced humans fought with desperate courage against dragon warriors, while Yura channeled her abilities through every system she could reach. But the Stormwing clan was too strong and too numerous. They are breaking through to the civilian sections, Minho reported, blood running from a cut on his forehead. I cannot hold them much longer. I have to do more, Yura said, preparing to connect with the main power core. Wait, Taiho said suddenly. What if we are thinking about this wrong? You do not need to enhance the whole station at once. You need to enhance the right things at the right time. What do you mean? Nari asked. Dragons think about power as individual strength, Taiho explained rapidly. But human strength comes from working together. What if Yura enhanced our coordination instead of our weapons? A neural network, Nari said, understanding immediately. If Yura could link all the humans on the station telepathically, we could fight as one unit instead of hundreds of separate teams, Wu Jin finished, speaking through his communicator from the battle. I have never tried anything like that, Yura said nervously. None of us have, Taiho said, but it is better than watching our friends die. Yura reached out with her enhanced senses, feeling for the minds of every human on the station. There were over 2,000 people scattered through dozens of levels and hundreds of rooms. Connecting them all seemed impossible. But then she felt Taiho's hand on her scales and Nari's touch on her wing, and even Minho's presence through the communication link. Their human pack bonds gave her strength and focus she had never felt before. Slowly, carefully, she began to link human minds across the station, not controlling them, but connecting them, letting them share thoughts and coordinate their actions. Perfectly. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Human security teams began moving like a single organism, anticipating each other's actions and supporting each other with perfect timing. Dragon warriors found themselves surrounded and outmaneuvered by humans who seemed to share a single tactical mind, but the effort was enormous. Yura's scales began to dim as she poured more and more energy into maintaining the neural network. She is burning herself out, Nari said, watching Yura's life signs weaken. I can hold it, Yura said through gritted teeth. I can save them. Not alone, Taiho said. He grabbed the bioelectric amplifier and connected it directly to his own nervous system. We do this together. Taiho, no! Nari shouted. The feedback could kill you! But Taiho was already activating the device. Pain shot through his body as alien energy flowed through his human nervous system. But somehow, his mechanical intuition helped him channel the power safely. Minho, Nari, Woo-jin, he called through the neural link. I need you. All of you. One by one, the other humans in their group joined the link, adding their strength to Yura's abilities. The neural network became stronger and more stable, allowing the enhanced humans to fight with impossible coordination. Thorax found himself facing not scattered resistance, but a unified defense that anticipated his every move. For the first time in centuries, the ancient clan leader felt something he had almost forgotten. Fear. What sorcery is this? He roared, as human teams surrounded him with perfect tactical precision. This is evolution, Yura said, her voice carrying through the station's communication system. This is what happens when different species choose to work together instead of dominating each other. The clan leader's eyes blazed with fury. Abomination! You corrupt the pure blood of dragons with alien thoughts. I chose my family, Yura replied. And they chose me. But even enhanced coordination was not enough to defeat an entire dragon fleet. The station's hull was failing, and civilian areas were being evacuated as more dragon warriors boarded every minute. Then, something unexpected happened. The neural link that Yura had created began to extend beyond just humans. Some of the friendly aliens on the station started connecting to the network, adding their own unique abilities to the collective defense. Incredible, Nari breathed. The network is growing on its own. Other species are choosing to join. For the first time in galactic history, multiple species were working together with perfect mental coordination. The combined defense became something entirely new, not human, not alien, but something greater than any single species could achieve alone. And in the center of it all, Yura finally understood what her abilities were truly meant for. The multi-species neural network that Yura had created changed everything. For the first time, humans, Centaurians, Vulcani, and even some peaceful Draconian refugees worked together with perfect coordination. The Stormwing warriors, used to fighting scattered resistance, found themselves overwhelmed by unified tactics they could not understand. This is impossible, Thorax snarled as his elite warriors were systematically outmaneuvered by what should have been inferior opponents. How do these lesser species coordinate so perfectly? They share something you do not understand. Yura's voice echoed through the station's communication system. They share trust. The clan leader's fury burned hotter than dragon fire. I will burn this entire station to ash before I let your corruption spread. But before Thorax could order a final devastating attack, something unexpected happened. 3 dragon ships broke formation and moved to protect the station. What treachery is this? Thorax demanded. Not treachery, came a response from the lead. Rebel ship. Evolution. The speaker was Kale, a young dragon from a minor clan who had been watching the battle with growing amazement. Through the neural network, he had felt something his people had never experienced. True cooperation without dominance. I want to join them, Kale announced to his crew. I want to be part of what they are building. You dare betray your own kind? Thorax roared. I am choosing my kind, Kale replied. And they are not the dragons who abandon their own. The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. Enhanced multi-species teams fought alongside rebel dragons against the traditional Stormwing forces. The station's mining equipment, boosted by Yura's abilities and operated by perfectly coordinated crews, became weapons that could damage dragon warships. But the most important battle was not being fought with weapons. Word of the multi-species cooperation was spreading across the galaxy through the station's emergency broadcasts. On distant worlds, other defective dragons began to understand that they were not alone. Aliens who had been dismissed as inferior by traditional powers saw that cooperation could triumph over domination. "Reports are coming in from across the sector," Nari announced, monitoring galactic communication networks. "Dragon outcasts are fleeing their clans and heading here. Other species are demanding equal treatment from their governments. This is more than just a rescue mission now," Tejo realized. "This is the beginning of something completely new." In the hidden storage bay, Yura felt the weight of the neural network she was maintaining. Thousands of minds were connected through her abilities, sharing thoughts and coordinating actions across light years of space. The effort was enormous, but she was no longer supporting it alone. Every human, alien, and rebel dragon in the network was contributing their strength. Taiho's mechanical intuition helped optimize the connections. Nari's scientific knowledge improved the efficiency. Minho's loyalty provided emotional stability. Wujin's tactical experience guided the military coordination. "I can feel them all," Yura whispered, tears of joy running down her scaled cheeks. "So many minds, all choosing to work together. This is what my abilities were meant for." But the Stormwing clan was not the only traditional power threatened by this new cooperation. Reports came in of other conservative factions mobilizing across the galaxy. "The Hegemony Council is calling an emergency session," announced Song Hana, a human diplomat who had joined the neural network from a distant world. "They want to declare the multi-species cooperation a threat to galactic stability." "Of course, they do," Wu Jin said grimly. "When you have built your power on keeping species separate and hostile, unity is your worst enemy." The immediate battle was turning in their favor. The Stormwing forces, designed for individual combat and dominance tactics, could not adapt to the coordinated resistance they faced. Several Dragon warships had been disabled by enhanced mining equipment, and more rebels were joining the defense every hour. But Thorax was not finished. The ancient clan leader gathered his most loyal warriors for a final assault on the station's core, intending to destroy the power systems that allowed Yura to maintain her network. "If I cannot have the defective one," he declared, "then no one will. I will cut the heart from this abomination and watch it die." The assault on the power core was brutal. Thorax and his elite guard burned through deck after deck, leaving destruction in their wake. The enhanced defenders fought desperately, but the clan leader was too powerful and too experienced. "He is getting close," Minho reported, his voice strained from maintaining his connection to the network. "We cannot stop him." "Then we do not stop him," Taiho said suddenly. "We let him come to us." "What are you thinking?" Nari asked. "Thorax wants to destroy the power core to break Yura's network," Taiho explained. "But what if we turned the power core into a trap?" Working through the neural network, the defenders began to modify the station's power systems. Instead of just channeling energy to maintain the network, they turned the entire core into a massive bioelectric amplifier. When Thorax attacks the core, every bit of energy he releases will be absorbed and redirected through Yura's abilities, Nari said, understanding the plan. "It will either amplify the network beyond anything we have imagined, or it will destroy us all." "Those are not great odds," Minho pointed out. "They are better than the odds we started with," Wu Jin said. As Thorax and his warriors reached the power core, they found it defended by a small group of humans and aliens. The clan leader laughed at what seemed like pathetic resistance. "You send children to face a dragon lord?" he mocked. "I have burned worlds to ash. What can your weak species possibly do to stop me?" "We can choose to stand together," Taiho said, standing beside his friends in the amplified power core chamber. "That is what makes us strong." "Sentiment will not save you," Thorax snarled, and released the full fury of his ancient power. Dragon. Fire filled the chamber hotter than the heart of a star. But instead of destroying everything it touched, the fire was absorbed by the modified power systems and channeled directly into Yura's bioelectric network. The effect was beyond anything they had imagined. The neural network exploded outward. From the station connecting not just the people fighting there, but reaching across space to touch minds on dozens of worlds. Dragons who had been hiding their differences suddenly felt the strength of acceptance. Aliens who had been oppressed by stronger species experienced the power of cooperation. Yura herself was transformed by the enormous surge of energy. Her scales began to glow with colors that had never been seen before, and her abilities expanded beyond anything dragons had ever achieved. "What have you done?" Thorax gasped, seeing his own fire turned against everything he believed in. "We have shown the galaxy what evolution really looks like," Yura said, her voice now carrying across space itself through the expanded network. Not the strong dominating the weak, but all of us lifting each other up. Across the galaxy, the old orders began to crumble. Species that had been enemies for centuries started talking to each other. Outcasts and misfits found others like themselves. The rigid hierarchies that had controlled galactic civilization for millennia began to change. But with great change came great danger. The conservative powers were mobilizing for war, determined to crush this new cooperation before it could spread further. "This is just the beginning," Cho Sunwoo, a human engineer on a distant world, reported through the network. "The traditional powers are gathering their fleets. They will not let this continue." "Then we better be ready for them," Yura said, feeling her new abilities settling into stable patterns. "Because we are not going back to the old ways." Through the neural network, thousands of minds began planning for the battles ahead. They had proven that cooperation could triumph over domination in one small battle. Now they had to prove it could work on a galactic scale. 6 months after the battle at Kepler 442 station, the galaxy was at war. Not the traditional war of one species conquering another, but something entirely new, a war between those who believed in cooperation and those who demanded dominance. The conservative powers had united under the banner of the High Flame Council, an ancient organization of the oldest and most traditional dragon clans. They commanded massive fleets and had the support of other hierarchical species who feared losing their power. But the cooperation movement had grown beyond anything Yura and her human friends could have imagined. The neural network now connected millions of minds across hundreds of worlds. Species that had been enemies for centuries were working together, sharing technology and knowledge that made them all stronger. Taiho stood in the command center of the Unity Station, a massive structure built in just 6 months by the combined efforts of dozens of species. Through the viewport, he could see ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. Vessels that combined human engineering with dragon, biotechnology, Centaurian energy systems, and Vulcani materials science. "The High Flame Council's fleet is approaching," Nari reported from her position at the science station. "Over 10,000 ships, led by the ancient dreadnoughts of the first clans." "How many ships do we have?" asked Minho, who now coordinated logistics for the entire cooperation movement. 3,000, Wu Jin replied. "But they are not like any ships that have ever been built before." Each cooperation ship was crewed by mixed teams of different species, all connected through Yura's enhanced neural network. The ships themselves were living examples of what was possible when different technologies and approaches were combined. Instead of competing, "The enemy wants to talk," announced Zhang Sunho, a young human who had become one of the movement's diplomatic specialists. On the main screen appeared the image of Zephyr the Ancient, oldest of all Dragon Clan leaders and speaker for the High Flame Council. The ancient dragon's scales were black with age, and his eyes burned with the cold fire of absolute certainty. "Abominations," Zephyr's voice carried the weight of thousands of years. "You have corrupted the natural order of the galaxy. Species are meant to compete, not cooperate. The strong are meant to rule the weak. This is the way it has always been." "Maybe that is the problem," Yura replied, her image appearing beside the human command staff. In the months since her transformation, She had become something beyond traditional dragon categories. Not just a silent wing, but the first of an entirely new kind of being. "You were cast out for being defective," Zephyr sneered. "Now you pretend to speak for evolution itself." "I speak for choice," Yura said calmly. "The choice to work together instead of fighting alone. The choice to lift others up instead of standing on them. The choice to evolve beyond what we were." "Enough," Zephyr roared. "The Council has decided. Your corruption ends today. We will burn every world that harbors this sickness and scatter your ashes across space." The communication ended, and immediately the High Flame Council fleet began its attack. Traditional dragon fire and lightning filled space, along with the weapons of their allied species. It was the largest military force in galactic history, commanded by beings with thousands of years of combat experience. But they faced something they had never encountered before, an enemy that fought as a single, coordinated organism. Through the neural network, every cooperation ship knew exactly where every other ship was and what it was doing. They moved like a single living creature, supporting each other and covering weaknesses with perfect timing. When dragon dreadnoughts tried to use their size advantage, smaller ships would coordinate to surround them. When traditional formations attempted to break their lines, the cooperation fleet would flow around the attacks like water. "It is beautiful," Yura whispered, feeling the harmony of thousands of minds working in perfect unity. This is what the galaxy could be. But the High Flame Council was not defeated yet. Zephyr and the other ancient dragons had lived for millennia and commanded powers that younger species could barely understand. As the battle continued, it became clear that raw coordination might not be enough. "They are too experienced," Wu Jin reported as several cooperation ships were destroyed. "They know every trick we can think of." "Then we need to think of new tricks," Taiho said. Through the neural network, he reached out to every engineer, scientist, and inventor in the cooperation movement. "What do we have that they have never seen before?" The answer came from an unexpected source. On a distant world, an elderly Volcani, researcher named Korak had been studying the neural network with scientific fascination. Through the connection, he shared a discovery that changed everything. "The network is not just connecting our minds," Korak announced to everyone simultaneously. "It is creating something new. A collective intelligence that is greater than the sum of its parts." "What does that mean?" Minho asked. "It means we can do more than just coordinate," Nari said, understanding immediately. "We can actually think, together, solve problems that no single species could handle alone." Working through the network, millions of minds began to combine their knowledge and creativity. Human engineering merged with dragon biotechnology, Centaurian energy theory, Vulcany materials science, and dozens of other specialties. In minutes, they developed solutions to problems that would have taken years for individual species to solve. The cooperation ships began to change during the battle itself, adapting to enemy tactics in real time. Weapon systems improved their targeting. Shields became more efficient. Engines grew more powerful. The fleet was evolving while it fought. "Impossible," Zephyr snarled, as his ancient tactics proved useless against an enemy that adapted faster than he could change strategies. "This violates every law of nature." "No," Yura replied, her consciousness now spread across the entire cooperation fleet. "This is what nature becomes when it is allowed to grow without artificial limits." The High Flame Council forces began to break apart as their traditional command structure proved inadequate against an enemy that thought and acted as one. Some ships tried to retreat, while others attacked desperately, and still others simply stopped fighting as their crews realized the futility of their position. But the most important victory was not happening in space. Throughout the galaxy, beings who had been watching the battle through the neural network began to understand what they were seeing. Traditional hierarchies started to crumble as individuals chose cooperation over dominance. On world after world, the old orders fell, as people demanded the right to choose their own families and futures. "The council fleets are surrendering," reported Song Hana from her diplomatic post. But more importantly, their home worlds are refusing to support them. The populations want to join the cooperation movement. Zephyr himself, ancient and proud beyond measure, found his own crew questioning his orders as they felt the harmony of the neural network calling to them. "You have destroyed everything," he said bitterly to Yura as his flagship was surrounded by cooperation vessels. "No," Yura replied gently. "We have saved everything, including you, if you choose to let us." The ancient dragon stared at her for a long moment, seeing in her transformed features the future of his entire species. "You are no longer dragon," he said finally. "I am whatever I choose to be," Yura said, "just like everyone else now can be." In the end, the High Flame Council did not fall to superior weapons or tactics. It fell to the simple realization that beings everywhere wanted the same thing: the freedom to choose their own path and the support of others who accepted them as they were. 1 year later, Taiho stood in his workshop on Unity Station, surrounded by projects that would have been impossible before the cooperation movement began. Beside him, Yura worked on a device that would help newly connected worlds integrate into the neural network safely. "Do you ever miss the old days?" Yura asked. "When it was just you fixing broken machines?" "Sometimes," Taiho admitted. "It was simpler then. But I would not trade what we have now for anything." Through the workshop's walls, they could hear the sounds of a thriving community. Hundreds of species worked and lived together, sharing knowledge and supporting each other. Children of different species played together, learning that cooperation was natural rather than strange. "What should we call ourselves?" Yura asked. "We are not really separate species anymore." "How about family?" Taiho suggested. "That is what humans call groups that choose to stay together." "Family," Yura repeated, testing the word. "I like that." Outside their workshop, the galaxy continued to change and grow. New worlds joined the cooperation network every day. Technologies that had been impossible for single species became routine when multiple kinds of minds worked together. Art and music and literature flourished as different cultures shared their unique perspectives. There were still problems to solve and challenges to face. Not everyone wanted to join the cooperation movement, and some groups actively opposed it. But for the first time in galactic history, beings had a choice about how they wanted to live. And in a small workshop on Unity Station, a human mechanic and an evolved dragon continued to fix things. Not just machines now, but hearts and minds, and dreams that had been broken by centuries of unnecessary conflict.